What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Game Show presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. They finally let me out. Someone must have given Joey that jar of olives in case of mushrooms because I am back, baby, and I'm excited to be here today with my co-host, Josh Fuster. What's up, Josh?
I'm here. I feel like you never say my last name, ever.
I know.
So I felt different.
It's a special day today. And guys, today we have a very special guest here with us for Mock Draft Monday. Oh, excuse me right there. I got too excited that I started choking. We've got Andrew Cooper, a.k.a. Coop A Fiasco, on the show today. For those of you that do not know him, he's the lead NFL analyst over at Fantasy Alarm. And you can catch him on the Fantasy Alarm podcast, the Fantasy Besties podcast, and the Lightning Round podcast. Coop, thank you so much for joining us today, my man.
Hey, cheers. Thanks for having me. Shout out to my Grimace gang in the chat. What's up, boys?
Yeehaw!
And all I want to know is, did we beat the over-under for being late to start the pod in the
No,
in
absolutely.
The chat there?
So let's see. I see Jay. Well, yeah, he said over under how late the show's going to start, and they set the line. 3.5 minutes. I think we started at 2.5 minutes. You know,
3:00. It was between 3:02 and 3:03. My clock had not hit the 3:03 yet. 2:02 and 2:03 in the best time zone, Central Time, but we'll let that slide.
So real fast, we got Joel in here with the under. Good job on that one, Scott. I'm sorry, get out of here.
No faith, Scott. Come on, man.
Yeah, you guys, anyone who didn't take the under, you guys are non-believers. That's just a little bit insulting today. We got JL in here. Wait, I figured it out. They traded JL for me is what must have happened. So now JL is being held captive. Hopefully someone's got more olives to get JL free on this one. Craig, welcome in. Glad to have you here. And Craig just went in on a can of olives straight from the can on Twitter. That was nasty, Craig. And I
Savagery.
love it. Just
Savagery.
Disgusting. And I love that you went that far on it. And JL saying you are a sick man, Craig. Yes, he is a sick man eating those.
He actually ate the whole
Well, he just started eating them out of the can. He opened up a can fresh and ate more than one. Just kept on throwing them.
Dead silent too. Dead silent. I put up just an absolute animal, Craig. I love it.
Jay in here saying Cena's we're 3 minutes in and they still haven't started. My line is just fine. Check your clock, Jay. I think you need to reset that. Maybe sync your work clock with the NIST clock on. I think Windows does it automatically. Jay, Mr. Scamper's in here, excited that I'm back. Thank you so much.
We're all excited.
Said, Coop, Grimace gang. And Scott said, where's Simon been? I was kidnapped. Joey kidnapped me and wouldn't let me go until someone gave him all of the olives.
Definitely Joey.
I am back now. Come here now. Welcome in. Glad to have you here. And Jay Wall, welcome in. Glad to have you here. And Jason Simon was on a super secret mission for the Dutch government. So
what?
Little known fact about the Dutch government. The Dutch are the reason all the carrots in the world are orange. I don't know if you knew that or not, but there's been a recent surge of non-orange carrots making it into American supermarkets. So they sent me on a secret mission traveling the country, finding the source of these non-orange carrots so that we can protect the House of Orange and their reputation on the carrot industry worldwide.
So for JL to get back on the show, he needs to eat a whole can of non-orange carrots. Is that what needs to happen here?
Coop, I didn't even have to say the next part. You knew without me saying.
All right, JL, you know where the bar is.
JL, save the world. Save the world.
Save the world.
I believe in you.
Geek, welcome in. Glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Let's see. And come here now said Simon delivers World Cup title to the Netherlands. I wish that my dad would be so happy if we could deliver a World Cup title. Very rarely have I seen that man more sad than whenever Spain beat them in the finals because the Netherlands has never won one. But that would be a great time.
I think everyone was rooting for the Netherlands a little bit because it's such a good underdog story. I that was the World Cup I watched the most by far.
That was a good one. That was a really fun one. Guys, today we brought Coop on here to mock draft with us. We are going to be doing a PPR one quarterback dynasty startup mock. Josh and Coop are going to be drafting. I'm going to be asking them questions throughout the way, and you guys are going to be drafting along with them. Before we get started, though, a couple reminders. Number one, if you are not already following our guest Coop on Twitter, go and fix that right now. He's on Twitter at Coop A Fiasco. not only do we just really like him as a dude, but he is an unreal fantasy analyst. And if you want that tight end scoop, there isn't a better place for it on Twitter than Coop's Twitter. After you follow Coop, if you're watching this video, that means you are already on our YouTube or Twitch. If you're on Twitch, hit that follow button. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to this video and then like it. It is the easiest way to show your support for what we are doing over here. And guys, are you ready to start this mock draft?
Oh, I'm so ready. I saw Coop. You picked the second spot, I believe.
When I got in there, you were in the one spot, so I just clicked it. I didn't. So you wanted
the one spot?
Well, no, I could take any spot. You know what I mean? Like,
all right.
So I'll give you guys
you want to snipe me.
A little, yeah. I'll give you guys a little, just a quick glimpse of how I do things in Dynasty. I basically break the draft up into the 3 parts, and I think everybody should. Essentially, in the first part of the draft, every person should be drafting the young studs, right? There's no reason to go for an older player here. There's no reason to go for a guy that's a question mark. There's enough guys in the early part that you can just take the best guy who's young. In the second part, I feel you need to go into a direction. You kind of don't want to get caught in no man's land. The last thing you want to do is finish in 3rd or 7th. I hate when I finish in spots like that because you get nothing. You get a bad draft pick. Then you need to either blow it up or really go all in at that point. So I start doing that in my draft in that second part of the draft. I'm either going to go for young upside guys or older guys. The third part, of course, is filling out your bench, and that's based on what you did in the second, right? Like if you decide to skew young and trade for picks, go for young players, and then you get the third part of the draft and you're drafting Jamison Crowder, you're doing things wrong.
Why?
You know what I mean?
Like he's just clogging your roster. He's giving you points that you don't want. He's giving, because especially if you're playing a league that's like awarding teams for least amount of points allowed or potential points. I'm right there with you, Coop. You're summing it up perfectly right now.
That's it. It's like that Jamison Crowder pick. Yeah, you put it best. Is the best case scenario he finds his way into your lineup and then you come in 9th instead of 12th. Like that's the worst possible thing that could happen to you. So yes, that's my philosophy. Yeah, whichever way I go, I stay going that way through the whole draft.
Crowder's not going to raise you from 3 to 1, but he might raise you from 12 to 9. That's a good way to put that. I never thought of it like that. Scott in here saying, Coop, don't give Josh any ideas. And Craig said, holy hell, Coop, attacking my man Jameson out of nowhere. I forgot Craig is like the #1 Jameson Crowder truther on
Somebody's got to be.
Twitter.
He's a good player. He's a good player, and I take him. Yeah, I take him if I'm trying to win, then I take him. Not if I'm trying to lose.
Let me make sure we've got the timer on 60 seconds.
This is a Dynasty 1 quarterback PPR league, right?
Yes, Dynasty 1 quarterback PPR. And before we get started, we can run through what the rosters are. 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex, 3 bench is what we're going to be doing here. Obviously, in a real Dynasty league, we would have way more bench. This would be 20 plus rounds in this draft. But for the purposes of our show, we're stopping after 12. Okay, here we go. Josh, you're on the clock first.
He's my 101 at the moment. I am going to take Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase over Jonathan Taylor, over any of the other wide receivers.
All right, let me tell you right now. With 2, I was going to take Jamar. I was assuming you were going to take Taylor, so I was going to take Jamar Chase in that spot, and I love that pick with Jamar Chase, man. He's tied to the young quarterback forever, who he's familiar with. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys heard, but when he got drafted, he went to the neighborhood where Joe Burrow lives and went door to door asking people to sell them their house, and someone said yes. So he lives on the same street as Joe Burrow now.
Yeah, that's so freaking cool.
For Dynasty, what more can you ask for? You know,
they're best friends that are playing together. Maybe the 2 best up and coming young talents in the league. I mean, it's a perfect situation for both of them.
Love that pick. Love that.
Come here now wants to know, is this a DA nasty draft? Indeed,
that's what it is.
Indeed, it is. Come here now.
Yeah.
This is Dynasty, though. This is a Dynasty draft right here. And those first 3 picks, in whatever order you want, went about exactly how I thought they were going to go.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor. If you take Superflex out of it, I think those are pretty consensus top 3 guys. Coop, what do you think about these next 2 picks being these running backs in Dynasty, Nashi Harris and Javonte Williams, these younger stud running backs?
I mean, I love it. Like Nashi Harris, what more can you ask for than the workload that they've committed to? You know, it's like they went an old school approach. Like they used him like he was Priest Holmes. You know what I mean? Like he played like every snap, you know, I mean, it's like in the modern era, people don't do that. So if you can get someone to do that, whether or not you think it's the right thing to do, sometimes I love when coaches do something that's not right. If it's good for fantasy, you know what I mean? Like Eli Manning throwing the ball 175 times to Odell Beckham Jr.? Did I think that was Saquon or whatever? Did I think that was going to work? No, but like I love it for fantasy. Riverboat Ron using the same 11 guys every play until they're hurt. Love that for fantasy. You know, my favorite thing.
Absolutely.
Bad coaching is great for
always seem to use one running back as well. That's why it's kind of well known at this point that the Steelers running back is going to be valuable, whoever it is. So maybe it's a point for later in your drafts, grabbing backups for running backs for the Steelers. Just a little tidbit, maybe more in redraft, right?
Side note, I just looked over at my right monitor and it's just playing on repeat the video of Craig eating olives.
Oh God.
I gotta get that off. It's giving me motivation to dominate this draft, actually.
With the olives? That's disgusting. Are either of you guys olive people?
On pizza?
No.
And in salads? Like sometimes I'll have a salad where the olive is the best tasting thing in there. So that's where olives kind of get a bump. In salad formats.
I think the only time I'll eat an olive is like sometimes for some reason people put olives in enchiladas, and I'll eat them if they're in an enchilada, but like never outside of that. Man, they're just nasty.
Well, I look at it, it's all about location, right? Like, so you have a salad that you have to eat at a wedding or whatever, or you're gonna die. Like you're gonna get too drunk too quick. So salads and that's it. Olives in that situation are great compared to like, you know, discolored carrots or whatever else is in there. But if you're talking about like on nachos, now all of a sudden the olive is the worst thing on the nacho. Well, you're right, cheese and all this other stuff. So it's all relative to me. It all depends on format.
I don't put them in the category of would never eat, like things that actually like gross me. Know what I mean? For me, that's beef jerky and pickles and ketchup, and that's about it.
Love all those things, bro.
It's okay.
Love pickles, love ketchup. Beef jerky's solid.
We're very complimentary, Coop. You can just eat all those things since I don't like them. You can lick the ketchup off my food, and then I'll eat the food.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was hoping you'd suggest. We'll have to find something for you to lick off my food so that it's okay.
Don't do
it. Geek said another year of drop-off passes to Najee in 2022. Surely, yeah, definitely could happen. I think he's going to get a similar workload. I don't see anything changing on that front with the workload that he's going to get. And Brady said, well, now I have the itch to join another dynasty startup. And Brady, man, I've been on vacation for the last 8-9 days. And sitting here looking at this mock draft board, I'm realizing I got the itch. Like I haven't like touched the draft board in like
we should have let you in this one.
Woo! I know I'm getting the itch, but I'm enjoying watching you guys on this one.
Now, real fast about Nashi Harris. Like, if you want a negative about him, I mean, he is a little bit older for considering where he's coming out. He came out of the draft a little bit older. He's 24 years old right now, and the Steelers lost the dump off machine, Ben Roethlisberger. So I just think this offense is going to be a little bit less efficient. I'm not saying that Nashi Harris there is a bad pick by any means. He's one of the better running backs in the league. Only 1 year in the NFL. You can't really complain about that. I think he's going to get used a lot. But in a dynasty context, that's just maybe why I do go wide receiver more heavily with those kinds of picks. I would probably take someone more like CeeDee Lamb or AJ Brown personally. But that's
he's older than Alexander Madison, and I think he actually has more touches. So I look at this draft board and kind of getting into what I was talking about earlier. Like with you took Jamar Chase first. You can do whatever you want still.
Yeah.
Right. But I look at Dame overboard here. He went Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler. This she did. And I love that start.
She decided what she's doing now.
I love that start. That's something that I do because I almost always play to win because I'm awesome at this and I can win now and I can win later.
So you can reevaluate later and like make some moves and still have an awesome team, right?
So with that team, that Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler team, like the worst thing you could do now is like trade your next pick for a 101 rookie pick next year, or go for somebody that's just a pure prospect that might not even start in your lineup now. Like that team's a win now team, in my opinion. And now you already know what to do in the second part of the draft year, where some of these other teams like Mr. Scamper's here. He can still kind of do whatever he wants with CeeDee Lamb. That's I do like the wide receiver early move just for it gives you so much more flexibility in the early parts of the draft.
So you're saying maybe Dame should go for someone like a Keenan Allen as opposed to like a Garrett Wilson with like, instead of reaching on one of these rookies that may not pan out year one, try to grab a certified stud that's going to help you win right away.
If I'm Dame overboard, I'm looking to so I drafted a team just like this last year where I took, I think Joey Wright's in that league with us, where I took Saquon, CMC, and Zeke Elliott. So what I did right away was I traded to get another pick in that round and took DK Metcalf. And then from there, I was taking Adam Thielen, Odell. Like I was just cared about getting the best players right away versus, it basically just became a redraft league for me at that point. I'm trying to win right now.
And I love the way you broke it down, like into 3 different sections. Like it's okay to go that way in the first section. That I feel like that really like kind of put like structure on the stay fluid with your draft strategy kind of thing. But explained it a little bit better how that's going to work. And now you are back on the clock, Coop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here I have that decision, right? Where now I got to decide if I want to keep it young or go all in. And I'm just going to go. This is full PPR, you said?
Yep.
Full PPR.
Full PPR.
Okay.
Jinx.
I'm gonna keep it reasonable right now with this pick.
DK Metcalf. So
I got sniped.
You got
I might have to go grab my tequila after I make these picks because I got
Coop,
sniped.
tell us about that pick, Coop.
So this is really why I picked second, because I was like, who is Josh going to take in the second round?
Mm-hmm.
And then I managed to take him, and now it's kind of just gravy from here on out. Now, so I went I went with Metcalf here because, in my opinion, we're still in that top group, and we're playing format specific. So if this was half point PPR, maybe I do take Derrick Henry or Nick Chubb, and now I'm in the same spot as Dame Overboard. You take Derrick Henry, you're playing a win, right? Like right.
Yep.
So, but I didn't want to go that way. So I'm sticking with take the best young guys available. I think Metcalf is still in that tier. He's a freak athlete. You saw the chase down tackle and all that. But now I have to consider where I'm going to go, because Metcalf he's not in the best position to produce this year.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you have any concerns about Metcalf in Dynasty, maybe short term or long term?
I mean, the long term with these guys is always the same when you see these like physical specimens like this, where the breakdown sometimes comes quicker for some of these guys like Des Bryant's and Vincent Jumble. I know Vincent Jackson was doing steroids, but sometimes when you're that built, the wear and tear is a lot heavier. So with Metcalf, the long term, that's always a question for me. But I mean, I just think he's a physical freak and a great player.
I think there's certain players that rely less on their like body and athleticism for their like elite. Like Larry Fitzgerald was able to keep on playing because he was able to transition from kind of relying on that athleticism into more relying on the mental aspects of the game right there. And that doesn't mean Metcalf can't, but he might at some point have to make that transition sooner than some other receivers do. He's shown he's a smart receiver though. Oh, that's okay, Josh. I don't think there's any problem having Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on the same dynasty.
It's a little weird. It's a little weird. I didn't really think about it very much. But I'll accept it. I'll take that. I'll take it.
They're both top 12 dynasty wide receivers for me. And number 1 and then number 11. So I've got truly no issue with you getting another top 12 dynasty receiver in the 3rd round. I get that maybe it limits some of your upside, but both of those guys can produce. Coop, what do you think about Josh's turn with the Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on the same team?
I mean, I don't see why there's a problem with that because of the way they operate, right? So when you look at some of these offenses and what they do, you never want to have multiple wide receivers on the same team if they use multiple tight ends or they use fullbacks, right? Like look at the Ravens. Every time they bring in a second tight end or they bring in Patrick Ricard or a fullback, a wide receiver comes out of the game. If you have 2 tight ends and a fullback and a running back in there, that's a 1 wide receiver offense. And that's why some of these years, their top wide receiver is playing 60% of the routes. This team's a complete opposite. They even got rid of Ethan Carter, who is the only thing even remotely similar to a fullback. You know what I mean? They have Hayden Hurst, but
it didn't
gotta be rare.
Did they re-sign CJ Uzomah? No, CJ Uzomah went to the Jets, right?
Yeah. So you got Drew Sample that comes in as the blocking tight end, but he's mostly coming in for running plays anyway. And when he comes in, it's Tyler Boyd that comes out. So in a situation like this, when it's 2 highly consolidated guys, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, or Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, or going back to like Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders, or Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas, if it's highly consolidated among the 2 guys being on the field 90% of the snaps, I have no problem with doing what you did there. Now you might as well take Joe Burrow too, though.
I was thinking about it.
Jay Wallen, you're saying the same
look at
thing.
that.
Josh, you need to find a way to get Burrow on that team. Jay said, "Is Simon drafting Josh's team?" It sure looks like it,
Terry McLaurin would have went there if Simon was drafting it.
Yeah, probably would have been DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin on that turn, probably.
I'll tell you, it's not crazy because I've seen teams do it. In my Dynasty League, 1 year a team won with Breeze, Kamara, Michael Thomas. He didn't even come close to losing. Like, he dominated. And another year way before that, I think it was kid had Tony Romo, Des Bryant, and DeMarco Murray, and that team steamrolled too. So it's not crazy to just load up on a really good offense.
Yeah.
Ooh, for a second, I thought Joe Mixon hadn't gone yet. And I was about to say, holy shit, how is Joe Mixon still on the board?
Would have got by me.
And just like to Andrew's point, he's talking here like I kind of made a decision. Which direction was I going to go? Like I didn't really want to take the Mike Evans and Keenan Allens of the world if I was going to take DJ Moore or T. Higgins. So I'm building this team for the future, but I still have flexibility, I would say, because these guys are studs regardless. They're young studs, 3 young studs that I feel very confident about next year and for the foreseeable future. So I like to start.
I like your start too. John, what's up? Welcome. Then he said, "What's up, guys? Nice, Josh. He likes your turn. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed day to you as
you do the
well."
Same. You do the same, John.
And Scott saying Josh start is a high stakes start. I don't know.
I would like to know what you mean by that. Like, is it like you're just saying high risk, high reward kind of deal?
I view this as a fairly safe start, Josh, with these 3 players
For Dynasty.
I think this is fairly safe. I don't know. Coop, do you view this as a high stakes start or a high risk, high reward start for Josh?
No, I think it's about the safest thing you could do, especially because for me, I consider all 3 of those guys in that young stud tier. You know what I mean?
So,
like, those are your 3 starters. And I mean, DJ Moore's a guy you can plug in your lineup for the next 5 years. He's still only I think he turns 25 later this month. So,
I get Scott was saying it's similar to like how high stakes leagues play out. People go wide receiver heavy in all high stakes leagues. I got you. I got you right there. Coop, so I saw you went Chubb with your 3rd pick. Does that mean you are pivoting more towards the let's get this ship right now kind of strategy?
Yep. So I'm playing to win now with that move. The thing about Chubb for me is that when you look at anyone that comes out with advanced metrics and stats and, yards after contact, he's routinely at the start of that list. And for me, I think he's just one of the best running backs in the league. So, whether
you're preaching to the choir right here.
Right.
Yeah, we are
I'm a Rich Chubb fan, and I completely agree with you.
Right. So it's like at this point, I'm just looking for star players. Like, the thing with some of these guys is you can make an argument that their success is circumstantial, but Nick Chubb has been successful with a pretty bad circumstances, really. I mean, like, another running back there, not a great quarterback, so not necessarily a high scoring offense. I think that he's a guy that the sky could be the limit. And, we've seen some of these offenses when they are super high scoring, they can even support 2 running backs. I mean, Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman were on.
The Browns
did
scoring.
It with Nick Chubb 2 years ago.
And then you add Deshaun Watson into that mix, like then they're able to sustain these drives, score more touchdowns. They're absolutely going to be able to sustain 2 running backs if Deshaun Watson's playing. Right.
So this is where now that I've done that and taken Chubb, I would start looking around this league and seeing who is playing for the future and start offering them my picks. Like this guy that took Javonte Williams, Breece Hall, and Mark Andrews, I would turn to that player and probably start offering them my picks for their picks to see if they want to, be the team that wins the league moving forward. Though he can still play to win now, that Brady Miller team. But that's kind of the way I look, is I say, okay, I'm in now. Who wants to take my picks and be the future guy?
Yeah. Come Here Now is a question for us. Wants to know, did I draft QB too early when Josh Allen in the 3rd round? I think this is subjective. This is earlier than maybe I would often draft quarterback, but I don't think it's too early. I think that's a totally fair range for what is like consensus number 1 overall dynasty quarterback. And you've got Stephon Diggs. Getting that stack is fun and is positive for your team overall. Coop, what do you think here?
I'll tell you. I just somehow backed out of the thing. Oh, I'm back in. So here's my strategy on that. With positional, play to your strengths. Like, if you don't find yourself caring about quarterbacks and adding quarterbacks off waivers and you don't think you're very good at analyzing them, take them early. Like, for me, I spend so much time working on tight ends that if I take a tight end early, I'm still going to fill my bench with like losers like Eli Wolf and all these guys, because I love tight ends. So I play into my strengths by not taking a tight end early, knowing that I'm going to focus on that position and find a way to improve it. So if you're somebody like me that doesn't like dealing with quarterback, absolutely take one early. And I might do that myself, so play to your strengths. That's why for me, it's never too early to take a position like that. If if you're really good at finding running backs on the wire and via trades, then just take all the other positions early and focus on that. Play to your own strengths.
I love that breakdown.
That's great advice. Coop, you just got nothing but great advice on here today. That is a good one. And Coop, that's exactly why Travis Kelce was probably my most drafted player over the past couple of years, because I got so sick of feeling like I was stuck in tight end hell. I just was like, I don't know what the hell to do now. Like, I wasn't deep into tight ends. So I just started taking Kelce everywhere because you know what? It eliminated that problem for me. I never had to worry about it again. Just start Kelce.
Exactly. And some people love quarterback, and like you don't want to waste your quarterback spot on Josh Allen because you think you can find the next stud. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. So right now I'm going to go ahead and take is this 4-point passing or 6-point passing in this hypothetical league?
Actually, not sure. Yeah,
it's 4.
Yeah, we'll go with this Fantasy Pros standard scoring for quarterbacks.
Okay.
Jay Allen here said, I love the first 2 picks for Swamp. And then Coop, we have a question for you while Josh makes his pick. What round would you target Grimace?
Well, thing is, Grimace is such a powerful player that you kind of have to treat him like Wayne Gretzky and split his passing stats and his rushing stats because he does it all. So I'm not sure if Grimace could even be allowed in this format. He's too strong, handsome of a player. Like
too strong and handsome.
That's why he should have won that fast food mascot
Who beat him?
challenge.
Chuck E. Cheese?
No, I think it was something ridiculous. It wasn't Mayor McCheese.
It was not the Arby's oven mitt because I remember pushing for the Arby's oven mitt really hard and being sad when it lost.
I was gonna say I thought it was an inanimate object, so I maybe I was thinking it was the Arby's oven mitt. But
I was livid when the oven mitt lost. But you know what? I'm coming around on Grimace. I think I might have been starting to see the light that he definitely should have won that one. Absolutely terrifying here.
I think that was my first day in the chat, and I had a blast, man. The chat, like I said, I usually prefer hanging out in the chat, but I'll come on and do a mock every once in a while.
And Craig said Chuck E. Cheese beat Grimace somehow. Craig is our historian, so I will believe him on that one. And then Brady said Josh is taking K9 here, guaranteed.
He called it. Good job, Brady. Good job.
I had a question for you before I ask Josh about that pick. You took Kyler Murray before Lamar Jackson. I know I see it differently. Like, this is not consensus. I think these 2 names are flipped rather regularly in experts' rankings. But why do you have Kyler Murray ahead of Lamar Jackson for Dynasty?
I just like what the hypothetical offense of Arizona is supposed to be more than
Justin
I do
Herbert
about the Ravens. Right. So
Herbert is Justin Herbert.
That's why I asked. If it was 6 or 4-point passing, because if it was 6-point passing, I would have taken Justin Herbert. But I like the idea of this air raid offense. They use Zach Ertz like a wide receiver. I think they want the whole air raid is supposed to be a 4 wide receiver offense where they're running around, firing the ball around, doing a lot of those, like jet sweeps where it's like a quick pitch underneath, and that counts as a touchdown pass. Whereas when I look at Greg Roman and the fact that, besides last year, he's been a bottom 3 guy in pass attempts every single year, going back to the 49ers, the amount of fullbacks they use and tight ends they use, and just the way that offense kind of lumbers around, I just prefer the upside of what a Kyler Murray air raid could be to the Lamar Jackson kind of cram the ball down your throat offense. But I mean, it's super close. It's a hypothetical thing for me.
That makes complete sense. I think just the player, I slightly prefer Lamar Jackson, but the offensive situation you laid out completely makes sense for Kyler Murray. Josh, you took K9 right there with that pick ahead of some other maybe established running backs, a David Montgomery and James Conner. What led you to take the shot on this rookie pick right here?
Yeah. So I really like Kenneth Walker. He's one of the most explosive players coming out of this rookie class. We saw it in the 40-yard dash, and that's not just it. Just watch him on the football field. He is explosive as all hell. If he winds up in the right situation, if he's at least a 2nd-round pick, I am going to love Kenneth Walker just going forward. I mean, obviously he's got to perform in the NFL, and it kind of ties in a little bit with my other selection. I did select Lamar Jackson, 5 quarterbacks gone in the first 4 rounds. So all he said is surprising to him. I kind of agree. I typically don't take quarterback in the 4th round, but I knew Lamar Jackson wasn't getting back to to me in the 6th round, for instance, right? So I had to take my guy there. I'm building kind of a younger team right now. Maybe I could have gone wide receiver instead of Kenneth Walker. Maybe I could have taken someone like Elijah Moore, or Devonta Smith here, or maybe Treylon Burks or Garrett Wilson, someone that I really like, and I could really build a really young, solid stud core. But I still have a lot of flexibility here, so I like these picks.
With what you did, I love that pick because your team, you have the base of wide receivers where if your team isn't good this year, it's not like you miss your window, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you load up with Keenan Allen and say you have like Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper and you pick Kenneth Walker and he's a bust and you don't have a running back, then by the time you kind of recover, now your wide receivers are old. For you, your wide receivers are still going to be good in 3 and 4 years. And now if it doesn't work out, then you just keep taking stabs at
exactly. I still have that core. And honestly, I got to tell everyone as well, I have Justin Herbert ranked above Lamar Jackson. This is, if I was doing this draft now, I was building my team, I probably would take Lamar Jackson, but my advice would be to take Justin Herbert there probably. But I love Lamar Jackson.
Had I not asked that 6 or 4 point, I pressured myself with the 6 or 4 point passing question because once you said 4 point, I felt like I couldn't turn around and take Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 4 point? I'll take.
It's like, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Oh,
4 point? No, fuck you.
Perfect. I'll take the immobile. I'll take the.
And Justin Herbert's not immobile, really. He can run, but compared to Kyler Murray, he might as well be.
Exactly.
John wants to know: do you guys think there's any rookie quarterback that is ready to jump right in and start? Ready? No, but I think there might be at least one that has to. I think that's probably going to be the case. Coop, what do you think?
I think again, they could start for their teams in the NFL. Whether you can start them in fantasy depends on their usage. You know what I mean? Like I look at Trey Lance in that one game where he got like 19 carries. Like if you have Malik Willis or even the guy from Cincinnati, Ritter, if they're running Ritter 10, 15 times, start them in fantasy. I don't care if they throw 4 picks. You know what I mean? Like 80 rushing yards is pretty good floor. It's like some of these guys, if that's how they're going to be used, then that's all I care about. But I'm with you guys that nobody really has been crazy impressive to me. Like when I watch Trevor Lawrence highlights, I'm like, what is that? Some of the throws he makes, like he's still so young, but some of the throws he made in college, it's like they make no sense. Yeah. Like rolling to his left, like I used to play quarterback, and if I tried to even attempt some of those throws, I'd probably crack a rib. This guy is
not only not even make the throw, but you get injured in the process.
It would be a non-contact upper body injury. You know what I mean? So but I still think that like guys like Trevor Lawrence would be the 101 in this class too, even after what we saw last year. I don't think we've seen him in a real offense with a real coach.
No, it was it was a comically bad situation that he got thrown into with the Urban Meyer experiment and that roster down there. Just like almost as bad as it possibly could be for him. And the things that have made him like what were like scouts saying that if he would have come out right after high school, he would have been the 101 in drafts that year. Like that, it's the same player. He's got the same skill set, but I agree with you. I think he's still going to kill it over there. Dan in here was complaining, saying there's no 0 RB in this draft, but there's a pretty good hero RB team building right now with Scott there at the 4 picks. Started with Nashi Harris and then has not gone back to the running back position. I'm curious to see how that one pans out right there. And Brady said, I'm pretty positive that the Panthers are going
I said I wasn't going to take tight end.
The only person I wanted.
I wasn't going to take tight end, but then I was like, well, my biggest priority is sniping Josh. So I just had to keep that.
I already told myself I meant to say it on I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to go grab my tequila right after the I was like, if he snipes me again, I'm not going to do it just for DK Metcalf, but he does it again. And that was a hard one. I was like, I was ready to take. Oh man.
I commit. My thought process here is that I committed to winning now, right? So I've done that, and now I look at this group of guys and I think, who can I put in my lineup and leave there for the entire season? You know what I mean?
No.
So.
Oh, and Josh, you felt so safe after his talk about tight ends. After
I did. You were sitting there for like a minute. I was like,
which brings you to my third lesson. It's all Dynasty's all about smoke screens and talking trash. So everything I've said so far is just a setup for all my future drafts that I have with you. I'm going to send them this beforehand and then do the opposite. So.
Josh drafted double rookies and said, "I'm getting my tequila." That's the move of a tilting dynasty owner. Like, fuck it, I'm going rookies. Give me my alcohol.
I am so tilted right now. I
that TJ Hawkinson pick literally just teleported you into the future. That was like a time machine.
I was like, fuck it. I'm not winning anymore. Just screw it. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to take this pick that's been intriguing to me. I know he can get vaporized at any moment, but if he doesn't get vaporized and they actually do believe in him, very interesting. I've seen him catch a bunch of passes. I know that was from Mike White, but just the fact that he was capable of it is interesting to me.
That's exactly my thought process, Coop. This is around the range I'm looking to draft him because we've seen it, which you can't say for a lot of the guys going in this range, seen that upside in the NFL. And we have seen it from him on the freaking Jets with Mike White, but we'll see. I like the pick. I like that.
I love what the Jets have done with the building through the trenches. You know what I mean? Like they went out and drafted Mekhi Becton, and George Fant might actually beat him out for left tackle, which, I mean, if that happens, great. Now you have a great right tackle. And they drafted Elijah Vera Tucker, who is a guy that, he could play anywhere along the offensive line. So you take the best guy available, which I think there's a guy, Kenyon Green, this year that could be this year's Elijah Vera Tucker. But that's what I like to see from a team like the Jets. Build through the trenches and then go for it. So
I just love the shot that Jay took at Dan in the chat. Dan said, Willis just has to be Hurts light and he'll be a top 12 option. And Jay said, so a bad QB. I know those guys go back and forth on Hurts a lot, but that's pretty funny right there.
No, but say what you want about Hurts. Like he's a fantasy.
He's a top 12 fantasy quarterback, regardless of what you think about him.
In your lineup. Yeah.
You're starting Hurts no matter what, if he's on your lineup right there. And Dan Turner saying Goddard is so underrated. I do think Goddard is probably decently underrated. Coop, you're the tight end guy. I'm curious your opinion on Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I mean, Goddard is the perfect example of a guy who we would be a lot higher rated if he was drafted to a different team and came up through the other side of the tree. There's basically two sides of the tight end tree, unless you're going to have a guy be the day one starter and play every snap, which is super rare. So you either come up as the pass catching guy, which like Evan Ingram did when he was a rookie, Kyle Pitts did, and then there's somebody else that does skews blocking, or you come up as the blocker, which is typically what happens. You know, Adam Trotman came up doing it next to Jimmy Graham. Delaney Walker was the backup tight end behind Vernon Davis for 7 years before he broke up at age 30. You know what I mean? Like that can happen. So that's what happened with Dallas Goedert. Now he's got that full-time role and he's obviously a stud, but he had to wait so long that he's 27 now. So, a little bit of he missed that window where you get the Pat Freiermuth magic by being the starter in that role, but now he is in that role
with Hurts, so that I think people are like kind of worried about that too, right?
Depending what side of the fence you're on in the chat, you know what I mean?
Well, are you on the Jay side or are you on the Dan side here?
So even exactly. I guess Dan is thinking that Hurts can support him as a fantasy quarterback, and I think as a fantasy tight end, and I think he can.
As a friend of the show and friend of the chat, I don't want to take sides just yet.
We got Kevin in here, Coop, saying your roster is getting awfully dusty, Coop. One more pick like that and you're fired.
That's the classic. Wow. That's the classic Kevin Tompkins approach so Kevin Tompkins' roster would literally only be wide receivers right now. It would be 7 of them.
Similar to mine. Get
None
Kevin
of them.
Corral there, put in Elijah Moore.
He would have taken T. Higgins 1 overall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then maybe sprinkle in a running back some point, but I know the Tompkins strategy, and it's not for everybody. It's definitely most similar to how you started for sure.
Dude, where's the guy with all the movies? This new guy looks like a real dweeb. Yeah, this new guy is a real dweeb down here in a stupid denim jacket.
I missed the movie guy.
He has some.
And we're talking about Simon, not you, Coop, as the new guy.
And JL the movie guy then?
No,
Joey's the movie guy.
Joey's the movie guy. Yeah, I'm disappointed Joey's not on here. I
started looking around my office for movies and realized that dweeb was very accurate for what, like the things that I'm seeing I could pick up instead in my office. There's like Pokemon stuffed animals, board games, Dungeons and Dragons starter kits, Percy Jackson books. Yeah, let's bring the movie guy back. This guy's embarrassing over here.
I gotta address the chat real fast. He says, "I'm always looking for a reason to take a shot." Yeah, I mean, if I drink the tequila, like I'm probably just want to take a shot more or less. If I drink the Maker's Mark, I'm punishing myself, guys. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong. Like I don't want to take a shot of that Maker's Mark.
It's 3 o'clock somewhere. I'm a big bourbon fan. I do like Maker's Mark. So, but I like
Maker's Mark. I'm fine with it, but I'll drink it with like some ice. You know what I'm saying? Like sip
it's not a shot.
I don't want to take a bottle chug. Tequila, I can drink like that, like it's water a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
One of my buddies who is not a bourbon guy, he came over and I was like, "Oh, you got to try this bourbon," and I like poured him up a little glass of it. And he just immediately knocked it back like it was a shot without even asking what it was. And it was a 136 proof pour of Stag Junior. And he goes, "That's pretty good." I'm like, first of all, bro, that bottle costs like hundreds of dollars. And you just drank like $30. I'm like, second of all, when you drink it like that, it's gasoline. Like you must be,
dude, it probably hurt.
I'm like, dude, you were drinking Bud Light for the rest of the night. That's
just shot it. I can't do bourbons unless it's in like a whiskey sour, in which case I'll drink infinite of those, but just like straight bourbon. But you know what, Coop? Maybe I've just never had someone serve me up a really nice bourbon that I accidentally shoot in front of them.
That's what I'm saying. You got to come over to my place. We'll do some nice bourbon, some nice ketchup, some pickles, and we'll see if we can get.
I'll bring my pens. We can hang out with we can write stuff.
I got my fountain pen right here that you recommended me. Everybody.
Nice.
Yeah, I use it. I use it anytime I write. I just wrote a card with it the other day for somebody's new baby. Only special occasions.
Babies can't even read specific pens you use stuff for, like you got a writing a letter pen and writing so
anytime
for a grocery store pen.
In college I was a lot stricter. In college I had like my notes for class pen, my homework pen, which was a little bit like messier and dried faster so that I could just kind of chicken scratch everywhere. And then I had like my fancy, like I'm signing a document, I'm doing this pen.
Yeah, I use this pen to draw pictures, like mean pictures of Joey Wright, and as you can see, it's almost out of ink.
Go on now, please.
It's almost out of ink. Yeah, here.
And I was gonna probably take Pat Freiermuth with my next pick, so I'm a little bit upset about that.
Dan in here saying I'm shocked Simon hasn't done an FYF D&D campaign yet. Well, there is a fantasy football Dungeons and Dragons campaign fully written that we are in the works of producing and getting out for you guys. So be on the lookout for that. And Simon's captor said, "Wait, how did Simon get out? I never got paid." Well, we just swapped me with JL. You've got JL now. If you look in the room where I was locked up, JL sitting in there. Should be an even swap.
Here's a picture. I don't know if you can see it. It's a picture of Joey with his dumb hat, and all these are all stink lines. So you can tell. I got a pile of empty pens just like this. That's what I use for drawing pictures of Joey. Besides that, I haven't really used a pen in years.
Geek in here saying Dweeb is an underrated clapback. Absolutely. And Scott wants to know, Josh, how do you like your team?
How do I like my team? I like my team, actually. Oh, I was thinking about taking Dalton Schultz with my next pick. Thanks, Swamp. I like my team a lot. I'm built for the future. I love these rookie prospects that I got on my team. Kenneth Walker, Jamison Williams, Chris Olave, however you want to pronounce it. I think it's Olave is how you pronounce it. But I'm really, really, really excited these guys for the NFL draft. I want to see where they land. And I'm about to take another one, probably another rookie wide receiver now.
Brady in here right now just saying, I love this range for rookie wide receivers. The fact that the Packers and Chiefs both had 2 late firsts makes Pickens pretty valuable in his opinion. Maybe not Pickens specifically, but just that range of wide receiver. I think it does add some value that there's positive landing spots for these players.
Screw it. I'm not just here we go.
So here's what I did with mine is I knew that Josh.
This is for Kevin. This is for Kevin.
I knew that Josh had already drank the tequila. He already eaten the worm and moved on to the shadow realm. He's playing for 2025.
Yeah.
So I knew that. I knew that
I'm gone, guys.
I knew that I didn't need to take the guy I wanted to take with my last pick because he wouldn't get taken by Josh. So now, since I'm playing for now, I'm going to take this player right here.
Yeah.
And I knew that I didn't need to take
Adam
him last
Thielen.
round because I knew you weren't.
Yeah,
gonna
I
take
was
him.
not touching him. Not even considering.
And for me, because I have DK and Amari, right? And Juju is a guy that, he's tied to a good quarterback now, but he's probably low upside because he's a low ADOT guy. But now I can take Adam Thielen, who's that, the upside of catching a touchdown every week, which is kind of where he's been. He's got like 30 over the last 2 years. If he gets hurt or doesn't pan out, it's not like I don't have someone to start. He's my 4th wide receiver, and he could be my 3rd if he plays like Adam Thielen does when he's healthy.
Mr. Scamper said had him queued up. Coop, you stole him from Mr. Scampers.
Sorry, Scamp.
And
I could be a little scamp myself in these startups. Meow.
Come here now. Says Coop's like, now I got to take a shot. Damn it! I'm just kidding. Come here now, Beach 89, and you said, will we be kicked from the mock draft if we draft 2 quarterbacks?
Don't you dare! No, do what you think's right, man.
It's a dynasty league. If you want to draft 2, you can. It is a 1 QB league, but there's no shame. It may make sense depending on what your pick was.
Maybe you wanted some trade bait. Maybe you're like, oh, this team's got no quarterbacks, but they're trying to win now. How are they going to do it? They're going to want this guy. This ends a tier of quarterbacks. I can maybe trade with this guy. I don't know. Maybe something like that pops into your head.
Maybe you draft a Tom Brady and a Malik Willis. Know what I mean? Like maybe you go that route. Like you get Tom Brady, and then you draft this young guy that can maybe take over for him.
I have no problem drafting 2 quarterbacks. In fact, especially with certain guys, like say you're on the fence about Jalen Hurts. Like, why wouldn't you also take another guy and kind of hedge your bets? Or say you're worried maybe your quarterback is going to go play baseball at some point. Then maybe you take another quarterback. Just
hypothetically, could be a quarterback on anybody's team that they drafted today, right, Coop?
Could be any quarterback is at risk to go play baseball at some point. I mean, Tom Brady was drafted by the Expos as a catcher, so he could potentially go play for them.
If they know how much baseball Lamar played.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
That's a rock fact.
Google that. That's a fact.
Did he?
Tom Brady was drafted by the Expos. Yes.
That's
awesome.
wild.
I did not.
Also, they love your dog in the chat, Coop. Jay said it's a good show when a pupper is on camera. And Sully said your dog is a beauty, Coop.
Yep. Gotta get once we started talking about scamps, I had to get this scamp up there because that was the reason to choose. But while I'm not paying attention, she was also just chewing her leash to little bits. So I guess I might have put
you up too early.
Very little.
Yeah. There's the little scamp.
Oh, hi.
This is Lufa.
Hi, Lufa. Oh, what a good name for a dog.
Who's a floofy Luffy? We love Evan Ingram. I wanted to name her Evan Ingram, but
that would be so good. A female dog too.
Her name is Evan Ingram. Full name. You got to call her both names at all times.
Evan Ingram.
Come here, Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram. It's not even.
So bad.
That reminds
to it for dogs either.
My dad's best friend, his wife got a cat and thought it would be funny to name it my dad's first name. But apparently after 3 days, his best friend was like, you have to change that cat's name. He was like, it's getting weird. You're like, oh, I love you, Jan. Come here, Jan. Just being all sweet to the cat. So they changed it to my name. This is when I was a kid. So the cat was changed from my father's name to my name because it was less creepy when she acted lovey towards me instead of my dad, apparently.
That is funny. Come here, Jan. Come here, Joey. Well, my cat's name is Joey Wright.
Okay. Your cat's name is Joey Wright. Dan said the dog probably has better hands than Evan Ingram. And Jay said, Evan Ingram crapped on the floor again.
That's so
all that's been said.
Swamp said, Josh, you sniped me on so many picks.
Yeah, gotcha, Swamp. I have so many wide receivers.
Joey's last comment is so sad. You got to put it up there. It's funny and it's sad.
I was Googling how he died just to make sure before I put it up there. Said we named our beagle Robert Loggia. He died just like the actor Robert Loggia. That is very sad, Joey. I am so sorry for your beagle. I believe.
Dude, I named my cat. My first cat, I named it Curtis Martin, and it died. Just like Curtis Martin got traded to the Jets. I'm a Patriots fan.
Oh, so, that's rough.
That was
those
were rough times, man.
Yeah.
Those were rough times.
Yeah.
Hey, did you guys hear the other weird Kyler Murray baseball fact about his uncle?
No.
Dude, so when
This sounds like a joke. Are you about to tell
no,
us?
This is real. No,
It kind of does. It kind of does.
Set up for a bad joke. No, this one's real. This is a real fact. So when Randy Johnson hit that bird with the pitch, the batter was Calvin Murray, Kyler Murray's uncle.
No, I've seen that video 1,000 times. You are.
I swear to God. True. I look it up. Look it up, dude.
He's like,
it's almost too crazy to like make up. Like, I believe him.
Imagine if I just came on here and lied about that, though. You guys would never be able to have me back. You
know
what I mean?
Kind of like, awesome at the same time. Like,
it would be awesome. And then you guys look at. I'll wait for you guys to say that on another show, and I pop in, and I'm just like, "That's not
like psych."
That would be perfect if we were playing like a football boulder dash type game where we all had to come up with like statements that sounded true. That one would be like the ultimate fake out. You would get me 1,000% with that one. Also, like, I apologize. Apparently, I severely mispronounced his name, and I apologize, Joey and Craig.
It sounded good to me, Simon, to be honest with you.
It's always said 6 dogs in, and my wife hasn't let me name one Fenway yet. So here's what you do. You get one and name it before you tell her it exists. You introduce the dog. Hello, honey. This is Fenway. And you brought him home. He's already named. What? You can't confuse a dog like that, just changing its name willy-nilly. You can only do that if you take it home from the animal shelter and you don't like the name they gave it, because they named every single one of them like nacho, taco, burrito. You ever notice how like animal shelters will name them in batches? If you go on their website, it'll be like themed names for like 8 in a row. You'll get like cinnamon, nutmeg. I can't think of any other spices.
You got this.
Sully said Coop could literally say anything now and I am buying it. Okay, what you got next for us, Coop?
Oh, I got to make a pick first.
Oh, and people are loving the dog. Swamp said, doggo. And Sully said Russell Wilson was a Yankee draft pick too, I think. You probably fact check that, but I believe you as well.
I mean, based on that fact, better be true, because I just took Russell Wilson because of that fact alone.
Nothing to do with him in Denver.
Nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with the fact that my starter, Kyler Murray, has been a little questionable and might not be locked in. But like right now is the point where I'm essentially done putting together my lineup. Right, like these are the guys that I'm banking on to be part of my lineup. So now I'm building my bench, which I mean I know the draft is pretty much over, but this is where I'd stop, planning for the future or start maybe taking future risks.
Wait.
Also, Scott said, please do not besmirch the name Taco for a dog. That's my pupper's name. And it is a great dog name. I was just making fun of when you go on the shelter website, like there'll be like 8 puppies from the same litter. And it'll be like taco, burrito, nacho, quesadilla, chalupa supreme. Like they'll just name them all in the same category.
I'm up.
And Mr. Scammer says, you try naming 7,000 animals. Yeah. I'd probably name them all Frank. It would not go as well. I'd name every single one of them Evan Ingram. Did you call
me? I'm confused.
And JL said, like this video if you haven't already. Josh will take a shot either way. Yeah. If you like it, Josh will take a shot. And if you don't like it,
did you like it? Yes, no, doesn't matter.
And Sully said Taco is a Hall of Fame name for a pup. Man, Lufa, I'd never heard of a dog named Lufa. That's a top tier name right there, Coop.
I'm enjoying it, man. It's my girlfriend and I put together a list, and she turned down the ones I like Gertrude, so and Evan Ingram. So I guess we went with. Will you stop chewing that?
Lufa's like, no.
Animals being named like really simple, like human names, like Kevin or
yeah, those are always great.
Phil. I feel like Phil is a really funny name for a dog or a cat.
Yeah, Phil's a perfect one. Like just really basic human names.
Don. This is my dog, Don.
You're not going to name a dog. It's something you would not name your animal. It's almost better when it's like a cat too.
Like Larry.
Larry's good. Larry's great.
Larry, what are you doing? You put the
come on, Larry.
The dog thinks she's a star, and she actually did just destroy her thing. So.
Oh, nice. Good
also, Scott said, Coop, tell them to draft Brady first in Dynasty, since they said they'll believe anything you say right
now. I actually endorse that move, especially if it's a league where if they go to play baseball, you can start them at catcher too. Like a kind of if you have like a hybrid. This is a hybrid baseball league, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
We all do those.
So you want another fun fact, though?
Yeah. I mean, why stop now?
Matt Stafford used to play catcher in high school. And
Is this a joke?
It's real. And the pitcher that he used to catch for in high school was Clayton Kershaw.
Okay. Aren't they
That's wild.
friends? They're friends, right?
I think that's why they're friends.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense then. I didn't know why they were friends, but that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Next time I come on, I'm gonna have a whole list of.
You better at this point. Now it's like.
But some of them are. Next time I'm gonna do it, but half of them are gonna be fake, and we'll play. We'll play real or fake obscure facts. What do you think?
I like it. And if you incorrectly identify one, it's -1 as well. We'll be mock drafting the whole time. You're running a secret game where at any point we can call you out and say, that's a lie. And if it is a lie, we get a point. And if we're wrong, we get -1 point.
If you're wrong, I get to take a player off your team.
Oh, God.
Scott in here saying, please do not disperse the name Doug for a dog. That is also my puppy's name. Who can disperse the name Doug after the movie Up, Scott? I know it's spelled differently. It's spelled D-U-G, I believe. But Doug is a top-tier dog. He's a good boy. And no one could disperse that name. Disperse is the word I just said.
Yeah, disperse. That should be a name.
Here's a fun fact.
Jay said, new game idea. Coop hosts.
I like that game.
Fun facts with Coop. Where do I subscribe?
Let's do it. At Coupe Fiasco on Twitter, and also I'll be posting a bunch of drawings of Joey too. So,
Scott said, "See, Simon is the movie guy. Only if it's like Up or Wall-E or Frozen or Tangled or something like that."
Jamison Crowder, there he is, boys.
Craig staying on brand. He said, "Coop, you can't get me away from my man. I'm taking him anyways." Drafted Jamison Crowder in the last round.
By the way, Coop didn't say don't draft Jamison Crowder.
Coop said, screw Jamison Crowder. I hate him.
If you're building a future built team, there's really no reason to take Jamison.
In fact, I even said that he makes your team good when you don't want it to be good. Just any mention of Jamison Crowder is taken as slander at this point. He just already has the pitchforks out.
Yeah, they got ready. The second you said Crowder. Yeah, Craig in here, Crowder.
Crowder.
And Scott said the next Jeopardy should be all sports movies. I've thought about one day when I'm hosting Jeopardy, just not putting a single fantasy question in there, like not telling anyone ahead of time and just having you guys show up and it's
you need the right guess, right? Like if it was Coop on there, I think he's gonna enjoy that.
He'd be game for it.
Go to my Twitter. I actually just retweeted a picture that I did draw once of Joey and post on Twitter. So I actually, even though that was a joke, I have drawn a picture of Joey.
I'm pulling it up right now. Coop a Fiasco. Okay. That's beautiful, Coop.
I'm in the picture too.
Scott wants to know who has the best team in here. Coop, are there any teams that stand out to you from this list I know you don't have time probably to run through and give your comprehensive final answer, but are there any teams that kind of jump out at you as good as we approach the end of this draft?
Yeah. So obviously my team's amazing, but when I look at the rest of these other ones, I do like, so for Craig's team, like if I was going to build for the future, that's what my team would look like. Right. Like I know Dalvin's a kind of a tough pick from that standpoint, but Swift is a guy where if I'm taking him with my first pick, then I'm leaning into the future. So I like taking Treylon Burks. I like Garrett Wilson. You know, I like taking a lot of these guys that he took down the road. Would you almost
recommend that he tries to trade Dalvin Cook now?
So yeah, I think I would. And now that I get down the bottom, like I know you were contractually obligated to draft Jamison Crowder, but if I'm playing for the future and I've taken, I've taken Burks and I've taken Wilson, I'm not going to take Cordell Patterson. I'm not going to take Crowder. I do like Tua though. So with some of these other teams, I already said how I liked Dame's team. I like the direction they went. Like, why not? Once you've taken McCaffrey and Eckler, why not take Travis Kelce? Why not take Michael Thomas? Like that team is in a position where, if as long as they can make the playoffs and Chris Godwin comes back for the playoffs, that's a team that I would be scared could beat my team. And then what happens is if you don't have a team built like mine or like theirs and you don't win early, then you start to sweat a little bit. You know what I mean? Because Kelsey's getting up there, Michael Thomas getting up there. But that looks like a team that I would draft.
There we go. And Joey said, Coop and I reenact the scene where Leo draws Kate from Titanic like once a week. He makes me wear a wig. It's awkward. Is it just the wig that makes it awkward, Joey? You'd feel more comfortable without the wig?
I think it's what makes the most awkward is the tears. With the tears streaming down his face while I make him stand still so I can tell.
I was so confused for a second because when I hear tears, my mind goes straight to like
the tears.
Yeah.
I was like, are you tearing like Joey and different parts of him? Like the wig, that's C tier.
Well, that's how we do our rankings. He dresses up, I draw him. He goes through his tiers for different positions. You know, like we did kickers last week, and he's just over there crying like Jason Sanders.
And by the way, just like Craig's contractually obligated to draft Jamison Crowder, you drafted Evan Ingram. Good job, Coop.
As I did, yeah. My dog's name.
There he is. Guys, that is going to be it for us today. Coop, thank you so much for coming on with us. It's been a real treat, as always, streaming with you, my man.
Yeah, dude, thank you guys for having me. It's always a blast. And, you know, the days that I can, I'll be in the chat chilling. It's like I just enjoy the show. So, you know, coming on, it's a good time. In the chat, it's a good time. Watching it later, it's a good time. So, always a good
guys,
time.
If you do not already follow Coop on Twitter, go and do that right now at Coop A Fiasco. It is right there below his handsome face on the screen. Do it for him. Do it for his tight end takes. Do it for the dogs. Do it for the fun facts. And then once you do that, if you're watching this, that means you're already on our YouTube or Twitch. Hit that like button on this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel at Front Yard Fantasy. We will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time for some more fantasy football game show fun. So make sure to tune in then. Thank you, everybody who drafted along with us today. Adios. We'll see you tomorrow.
Trading makes fantasy fun.
Indeed, it does.